I want to introduce you to our brand new partner, Torys LLP. Torys is a leading international law firm that has been around since 1941 with offices in the US and across Canada. Torys has a long history of helping Canadian businesses strategize and grow, and they have always worked closely with players across the emerging startup ecosystem in all aspects of the creation, acquisition, and commercialization of their products. They help founders determine when and how much to fundraise, how to achieve the right economic structure, how to think about board and control issues, and how to successfully navigate different stages of the growth. They help VC funds, strategic investors, private equity funds, and other institutional investors realize their investment strategies and support them on fund formation and shareholder arrangements to buyouts and other exits. And our guest today to tell us more about the firm and how he has helped startups and investors scale is Konata Lake, the head of Torys Emerging Companies and Venture Capital Group and a partner in Torys M&A Group. Konata, I'm so happy to have you join us today, and we're excited to hear about working with you and your team at Torys. So to kick things off, it would be great if you were able to share a little bit more about Torys and the work that you do there.
Thanks so much, Matt. I'm happy to be here and really big fan of the podcast and appreciate all the work you do in the ecosystem and in terms of simplifying things for folks in terms of what's going on. So thank you so much. As you mentioned, Torys has offices in the US, across Canada, so New York, Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, and Halifax. This means that we do a lot of domestic and cross-border work. So in addition to helping organizations of various sizes with their domestic or Canadian growth strategies, we also support companies and investors looking to enter and do business in the Canadian market and companies and investors planning to do work in the US. And outside of working with startups and investors across the innovation ecosystem, the firm also supports many major financial institutions, real estate, consumer and retail, industrial, telecoms, and energy companies. In my practice and in our life science practice, we work with entrepreneurs on all parts of setting up and running a business. So things like deciding when to raise, intellectual property protection, co-founder and employment issues, data and privacy issues, and so on. And as you mentioned, we work closely with investors as they fund high growth startups and build their own funds. Our work with startups is stage and industry agnostic, so we have the pleasure of working with founders from ideation through to exit across many different verticals. We also work with VCs, private equity funds, funds of funds, and the like on their operations and investments. Torys is also partnered with a number of leading innovation hubs and programs that help startups scale in Canada and the US, and we provide workshops and office hours to help founders and their teams successfully navigate the many moving parts and challenges that come with building a tech company.
Torys has been around for so long, though, and they've been known as Canada's leading law firm with major corporate clients. What influenced the decision to move into the tech space over the recent years at the firm?
So while we've been working to formalize the marketing and the brand of this work in recent years, the reality is we've always been involved in these kinds of deals, working with emerging hybrid companies. Given this work a name, our emerging companies and VC practice and our life science practice was just a natural progression. I find that clients appreciate our long-standing mix of experience across the startup ecosystem, which allows us to have a full 360 view of what investors, founders, and others are looking for and what they need. We can share insights from both sides of the deal table, both sides of the border, whether that be an investor and a founder deal or a big established corporate and a startup. And we also know how both the US and Canadian markets work and the best way to strategize and strategically navigate them. Clients find it helpful to have one-stop shop for all their needs, and that's what we strive to provide.
Speaking of big corporate deals, you recently worked with the Maverix private equity team when they were one of the lead investors in the $260 million growth funding round of Miovision Technologies. And you also acted as counsel to 1Password in its acquisition of Passage Identity. Can you share more specifics about those deals?
Given our responsibility to our client, there's not much I can go into about the inner workings of each deal, except that the great examples of Canadian success stories. With the first deal I mentioned, we have Maverix, which continues to provide a great deal of support to the Canadian ecosystem. And through this deal, it illustrates that despite the current economic environment, there's an appetite on the investor side to support these innovative Canadian companies. And on the 1Password deal, it's just a really good example of a Canadian startup taking a great position on an international stage through the acquisition of an American company. And this goes to that one-stop shop we talked about in terms of our ability to do cross-border work. It was a wonderful cross-border play. The one password transaction really highlights our ability to help Canadian startups looking to grow through acquisitions in the US. Our cross-border capabilities highlight the one-stop shop approach, as I mentioned earlier. Our job as counsel on these and all deals is to support our clients, not just for issues that may pop up, but proactively. We want to be able to share insights into what could take place down the road or how to best play things in the current day so that our clients are better aligned to be where they want to be down the road.
Speaking of current day and given how much you work with emerging technology companies, what is the one piece of legal advice you would give an early stage founder, especially in the current economic climate?
It's a really tricky time. I think there's no secret that it is a difficult time right now to raise capital, and founders are looking at ways to reduce costs and save money. And an important part of cost saving is to look at service providers and see if you need what they're offering. Can be especially true with legal representation. I'd say to founders, really assess where they're at. Are there actions that they can delay? Can you rely on template agreements and limit changes to third-party parties instead of having to engage legal counsel to negotiate agreements? Do you need to undertake staff reductions to right-size the operations? If so, be sure to properly document what is offered to the party employees and obtain the right releases. We, as do many firms, have starter packages that offer services at accessible costs. You can get, important legal documents you need and that investors and others will expect you to have without draining the bank. There's also a great community of hubs and programs that help early stage founders with many resources. So you do your research and see what is available to you. There's customized support out there. So I tell founders, always ask, especially as it is cheaper to do things right the first time rather than try to go back to fix things later.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Konata. And I'm super excited to hear about all the transactions you guys have been a part of recently in Canada, and also the ways you're helping Canadian startups across the scene and technology companies scale. And I'm very excited to have you continue to work with us at the team at Ripple and have Torys as a partner along our journey. So thanks so much for joining us, Konata.
Thanks so much, Matt. Great to be here.